Welcome back, friends. So now we're going to start to see some convergence. Thérèse and the same response. So now we've seen a work entrusted, was restrained and clarified within a particular place and through a particular soul. The question that follows is whether it remains confined there or whether it appears again. What becomes evident is that it does not remain confined. Without direct connection or dependence, the same response emerges in another life, in another moment, and in a different form. We turn to Thérèse of Lisieux, known in religion as the Thérèse of the Child Jesus and of the Holy Face. That title is not incidental. It reflects something central to her life, a sustained attention to the humanity of Christ as it is revealed in his suffering and often met with indifference. Her life unfolds within the Carmel of Lisieux, hidden, structured, and without outward mission, yet marked by an interior clarity that parallels what we have already seen. At the center of her life is a precise and focused awareness of Christ, not as an abstraction, but as a person whose love is given and often unreturned. This perception does not lead her to analysis or commentary, but to response. She offers her sufferings, her limitations, and the ordinary substance of her daily life with a clear intention to console, to respond, and to love, where love is not returned. There is no formal structure, no defined program of reparation, and no explicit formulation that mirrors what has been previously given. Yet the movement itself is unmistakable. In the life of Sister Mary of St. Peter, the response was named and directed towards specific offenses, particularly blasphemy and irreverence toward the holy name of God. It was articulated clearly and given a structured form. In the life of Thérèse, the same response is interiorized and lived. It expressed through love rather than through formal definition, yet it remains directed, intentional, and real. The humanity of Christ is attended to. The absence of response is perceived, and something is offered in return. This is the point of convergence. The response does not depend on a single revelation or required direct transmission. It arises within the life of the church under different conditions and with different souls. The expression changes, but the movement remains consistent. What was named in one place is lived in another. What was given in a structured form is received in a more interior way. The two do not stand in opposition, but in mutual illumination. This convergence matters because it reveals that we are not dealing with an isolated phenomenon. We are seeing a pattern within the life of the church. The world moved toward indifference, and the response that emerges is one of attention, reparation, and love. It takes different forms depending on the soul and the circumstances, but it addresses the same reality. In Thérèse, this response becomes accessible in a new way. It is no longer confined to a particular devotion or a set of prayers, but is lived through fidelity in ordinary things. It is interior, but not abstract, and simple, but not superficial. What has been entrusted and defined is now embodied, and in that embodiment, it becomes recognizable beyond its original context. What we have seen in these two lives prepares us to recognize the same movement again, wherever it appears.
Yeah, impactful, right? I mean, I just feel like it's that image of our Lord, right, knocking at the door of your soul, right? Just knocking. And each generation, each person individually, as you said, is given this invitation. God is so profoundly personal. And I think that that's actually one of the problems that is going on with this. It's really like a vile spiritualism, right? Because a spirit is not personal. it's disembodied, right? It's separate, it's ephemeral, it seems to have no substance. And yet we know that that is not the presence of our God. And our God is profoundly real, right? We talk about this often when we talk about our relationship to the Eucharist, his body, blood, soul, and divinity, a real presence, right? Not just something that is imagined or superimposed or, symbolic, right? All of those things may have some level of goodness within themselves, but if the goodness is there, it's only because that goodness is founded on some prior reality, right? But God is not prior. He is, right? He is always with us. And I think that this maybe, and maybe it's really speaking to me. Maybe it's more, maybe this whole conversation is really a profound invitation to me, right? Knocking on the door of my heart. This is something for you. Gaze upon my face. I don't want you to see me as something that is, ephemeral or not real, that re-engagement with him as a person. As a matter of fact, just the other day, I was just kind of pondering just a little bit about the reality of his wounds after the resurrection. And I was thinking, I think it was for the first time where it really, because I was thinking about Padre Pio and seeing the stigmata that he had and being aware of the fact that those were active wounds. Right? I've always envisioned Christ's resurrection with a body that has scars, right? That are, I don't know, healed wounds, maybe. But I don't know I don't know what the church teaches on that. But for the first time, I thought anybody who's had the stigmata, they're not healed wounds. It's not like they're just scabbed over. They're living wounds. And I was thinking for the first time how profound it is that our Lord bears the wounds of the cross eternally.
Okay. That's right. So what follows from all of this is not something abstract, but something that can be lived. If the same response appears across different lives, then it is not limited to them. It becomes a question that returns to us. So for today, take a brief moment and make this concrete. Turn your attention to Christ, not as an idea, but as a person who can be encountered. Consider where that encounter is met with indifference, either in the world or in your own life. Then choose one small, deliberate response. It may be a quiet act of love, a moment of restraint, or a simple offering made without being seen. And if you wanted to put it into words, you can write a single line. Where love is not returned, I will respond. Till the next time, my friends. Fides, Reparation.